Hi, everyone. My name is John Dahlia, and welcome to the very first video podcast, I should say, called TMC Today, which is all things TMC Technologies and Team TMC. And, of course, joining me for the very first episode has to be the individual who personifies TMC Technologies, Mr. Wade Linger. He's our president and CEO. And Wade, thanks for being here. It's a great honor to have you here, of course.
Thanks, John.
Let's go back. I think to start things off, I want to go back to the very beginning of TMC2. And this was, 2010, 2009, somewhere around there.
Right.
When, you already were retired not retired, I guess, at that point. You had Wade's Garage at that point. You've already sold TMC1. You were kind of settled in that. What led you back into the government contracting world? Why did you decide to do TMC2?
Well, I missed it. I didn't think I would after all those years in the business, and then having sold TMC and built the garage and was building hot rods, and of course I got sort of drafted into the State Board of Education.
Right, that's right.
World
that's
also.
Right.
So at the time I was president of the State Board and building hot rods, but Merv McDowell came in my office and sat down and reminded me it had been 5 years. The non-compete agreements were expired.
I like how he reminded you.
and said, "You want to do it again?" I said, "Sure." So we did.
Well, was it a difficult decision? I mean, again, you had Wade's Garage, which was your hobby. You said this many times to me that it's your hobby on steroids,
right?
And it was successful at that point. I mean, you already were doing all the antique cars and restoring them. Was it difficult to kind of decide to get back into it?
No, it really wasn't. I enjoy this field. I enjoy working with the kinds of people that do this kind of work. I enjoy the competition, and so it really wasn't a hard decision at all. I was happy to do it.
So TMC2 is unique in a lot of ways, obviously. One of the things that I think is very interesting about it, and a lot of people might not know this, is it's set up as an S corporation, which is kind of like a stockholders, but these are West Virginia folks, and it has a board of directors. Why take that approach? Why build it in that way?
When we started the first TMC back in 1996, I didn't have any money, and so Merv and several other local businessmen who had been successful, including Bob Smith and Mike Martin, they were willing to invest some money to get the company off the ground. And so in that way, they were equity stockholders, and that's the way the company got started. I had to. You know, that put the money in.
Right.
So we had a successful run with the TMC1. And when the company sold, partly through rumors, the word got out that we made a bunch of money. Well, we didn't make nearly as much money as I think the rumors were, but they were there.
Right.
And so when it came time to start the second one up, our friends said, we want to be involved this time.
Yeah, they all came out of the woodwork, kind of.
Yeah, I mean, you guys have a track record. You did a good job the first time. We didn't think a company like this in West Virginia could be successful like that, and so we want to play. So we did.
Did you have to market it? Like, how did you, or did people just come running to the table?
It's a little bit of both.
Okay.
The people who knew us,
right,
as soon as we told them we were going to start up the new company, they said, "Well, we want to join in," and then some of them came over and said, "Well, I have a friend who would also like to play," and so it kind of went like that.
Yeah.
And before you know it, there were 50 people that said, "We'd like to invest some money in this thing and see what happens," and so. With an S corp, it's a privately held corporation, and the equity is owned by the shareholders, and so we started out at the very beginning with nearly 50 and ended up with a little over 50 shareholders.
Wow!
And but it was good. It's good that happened because at the time I didn't think we needed that much money.
Yeah, and that's a lot of people. I mean, kind of ideas and things like that.
Yeah. So but that was 2010.
Right.
And if you'll remember,
Yes.
going into 2010,
Because you had a strategy.
the way
with the whole thing.
Well, the way you did this business here
Right.
in West Virginia was you create the company, you hire some good people,
Right.
and get on the GSA schedule, and you work with Senator Byrd or Congressman Mollahan
At the time, yeah.
and they were good at the earmarking game. Get a little bit of money plussed up into somebody's account, and
Right.
you start working, and you prove yourself and grow from there.
Right.
That was what we were planning on doing, and that's what we told the potential stockholders that was the plan.
Longest-serving legislator in the history of the United States
Unfortunately,
died,
within just a
elected
few
9
months
times.
of founding the company, Senator Byrd died, and Congressman Mollahan got primary.
Yeah.
So all of a
Well,
sudden,
and then earmarking also went away.
well, that
in
was
2012, yeah, a
right.
little bit later.
Yeah. But even though earmarking hadn't quite gone away yet,
Right.
it did for North Central West Virginia.
Yeah, with the two people, not there. Yeah.
Right. So there we were. We had these 50 people who had placed their faith in us and
Yeah.
money, and sort of our strategy for growing the business quickly was out the window. And so what we did was we bought Galaxy Global.
So acquisition became the strategy.
Yeah.
How did the board embrace that? Were they like saying, okay, this is a better approach, or was there a little bit of concern about, hey, we're not sure if we want to merge with someone else?
No, at the time, the board realized
Okay.
that we're bleeding here. We've created this infrastructure. We've got people on the payroll, and we got no contracts. And the idea that Zenny had built Galaxy Global over the years wasn't a really big company. I think there were about 30 people in the company.
Yeah.
But they did have some work with NASA.
Right.
They had a little bit of work with the FBI.
Right.
The ITSSS contract was
Yes.
about to be awarded.
It's an important contract vehicle.
And they
too.
had security clearance.
Right.
So they actually brought to the table tools in the tool belt. They had some good quality people. So it was good to be able to pick that up and basically run with the ball that they had. And it allowed us to do what we do with
Right.
tools that were already in place instead of taking years to get all that kind of thing in place.
And it's so hard to break into the business, I mean, as you know. So as time went on, Create Tank became another local company that you guys merged with. And then I think the real big moment for TMC, in my mind, as far as the acquisition strategy, was when TMC merged with MSIS from Elkins, because they did some work with the Navy, and they had this different level of defense kind of work. And I mean, what was that process like? Was that one difficult, or was that, by then you probably were an expert at acquiring?
Well, yeah, the Create Tank thing was good.
Yeah,
because that got us some really good talent that had worked for Create Tank, and that helped with the FBI work. The thing that the MSIS acquisition did was it got us in the door in places other than right here in West Virginia.
Yeah.
And we've done a pretty good job of getting our fair share of what's in West Virginia. You always want more, but there's only so much going on in West Virginia in federal space. But MSIS had the work in Maryland, Virginia, and in Indiana with the Navy.
Right.
So, and we've grown that. We've grown
a
that
lot.
So
like dramatically.
Dramatically. So
Yeah.
one of the things that we've been pretty good at is acquiring a little company and really doing better with their contracts than they did.
Right.
And so that has allowed us. I mean, it seems like yesterday that we were thinking about. We're going over 50 people now, and there's different rules as far as your HR and that kind of thing goes.
That's right.
And you turn around now, we're 120 something.
Right. We're close. Yeah, we're at that level. It's remarkable.
And all that came from leveraging these contracts and things that our acquisitions had. Now, that's not to say we haven't won anything.
Yeah.
No,
we've won a ton.
The stuff
we've
that
grown
won,
a lot too.
Well, the stuff that we won at the FBI was based on the ITSSS.
Right.
But we were prime on those jobs. EDO was one.
Right, and that's a big project. I mean, that was all the background check.
That's
and
right.
use of force, which
Use of
is
force.
really, really, right now it's in the news, you know.
Right.
And then, of course, the Somalia project, which we just recently won. I mean, that's pretty,
Right.
that says a lot, I think.
So between that and then 3 consecutive wins on the tools work over at NASA.
Yeah.
It's rare.
Well, and
really
it's grown too. Now the set number 2
That's right.
is at it's $24 million, contract.
Right, that's
So
right. Well,
it's-
they combined. There were 2 different
Right.
contracts. They combined them, and then we won the bigger contract. So I still like that strategy. And I'm still willing to buy more companies if we can find one that really fits and
Right.
that I think is underperforming on the contracts that they have.
So what's next for TMC? I'm going to switch gears in a minute, but I'm curious about, obviously, we always project what the next year, the next 12 months, the next 5 years are. Where do you see TMC in the near future?
Well,
I mean, continued growth, I'm assuming.
over
but-
the past year or so, we've really increased our staff in ways that allow us to go after more work.
Right.
And so right now, I think we're working on 3 or 4 proposals right
Yeah,
now.
it's
Everything
yeah.
from NOAA to Space Force to
Right.
the Air Force to some more Navy stuff.
Right.
And FBI stuff, Homeland Security. So after Jeff Edgell came on board,
Yeah.
and some of the additional people that has come with him,
Right.
we are no longer just focused on holding what we have and kind of slow organic growth. We actually have a strategy this year to go after some things with some different agencies to leverage the work that we've done and that we're so good at. And this thing should really pop.
So, all right, switching gears, I have to. A lot of people don't know this, but right below this floor, right below us, is Wade's Garage, which I said earlier. When you first opened it, you said it's my hobby on steroids, which is interesting because it's a car shop, an antique car shop, I guess is the best way to describe it. But it does all this work on these real, older vehicles, the muscle cars, and the antique vehicles, and it's been relatively successful over the years. I mean, to the point where you have a waiting list, right? I mean, what's it like to walk downstairs? And have that there, and then have this whole different kind of model business up here.
Well, it's not really that much different. They're projects, and then you build a list of tasks, and you perform those tasks, and we charge T&M rates down there, and customers get their cars restored or modified in ways that they want. And I just charge them by the hour for the time and for the materials. I like it because...
Yeah, I gotta... I mean, you say it's just like, it's a business, but it's got to be more than that. Well, I mean, what's your favorite car? Which I think I've asked you this before, but I'm guessing it's a Nomad, but I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah,
the 57 Chevy Nomad's probably my favorite, but it's really hard to say because, again... depends on the use case. If you're going on a nice long trip, the Nomad's nice. If you're going to go down and do some racing, then probably the 600 horsepower Rambler is probably better.
Holy cow! Okay, well, they're still incredible, those vehicles. I mean, and it's interesting, like I said, to have that business downstairs. And while we work, a lot of times you'll hear them doing the work on the vehicles too.
Well, yeah, and I mean, of course, if we have customers from California, I do go downstairs and ask them to be quiet for an hour or two. So,
Well, I guess the only thing I have left to ask is, and I'm not sure if you want to answer this or not, but what is next for you? I mean, you've been doing this for a long time. Obviously Wade's Garage isn't going anywhere. I don't think TMC2 is going to go anywhere either. It's great to have local stockholders or stockholders in West Virginia because as an employee, it's kind of like, well, I guess they're not going to sell the company because we're all here. But what's next for you? You've been doing this for quite a while. And I don't want you to retire, and I don't want you to make an announcement.
John.
But what's next? I mean, obviously you're having fun.
Yeah, I mean, if you're having fun, then why quit? It's true with the garage, and it's true up here. I have really good people around me, and so the work gets done. I really enjoy being a part of it. I keep myself out of the critical path so that if I'm distracted in one way or another, that the work goes on, and it does. So as long as you enjoy it, why would you quit doing it?
Absolutely. Well, what a great way to end our first episode. Wade, thanks for being here. Folks, this is TMC Today. Again, it's all things TMC Technologies. We're excited to have this video podcast be kicking off with Wade Linger. We'll have future podcasts in the near future, hopefully. And folks, thank you for joining us. We will see you soon.